Ooh. Happy Wednesday. Thirsty Dave. Dave is thirsty today, this morning.
Hump day.
Hump day
with coffee. Hump day with coffee.
Mike.
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 My favorite.
That was a good one, and they even did the Super Bowl commercial with those. And man, that's one thing that's kind of killed me over the years. Super Bowl commercials back in the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm going to stand here and say Super Bowl commercials in the 90s were the best period of Super Bowl commercials ever.
Agreed.
Prove me wrong.
It's almost like the Super Bowl commercials and Saturday Night Live were in tandem.
They were.
And then all of a sudden, they both just plummeted.
It kind of like at the same time, it sort of just went down. But I guess Saturday Night Live got better, like they stuck at it. But I feel like the Super Bowl commercials, just for me, they haven't really done it lately. It's like, and I know it's just now getting fall, and everybody's like, you can't even talk about playoffs, let alone Super Bowl, but I am.
I totally agree, and I've been let down every Super Bowl waiting for that one commercial that just, that I'm like,
it's
wow.
actually funny. Yeah.
Correct.
It's like they play the tropes anymore of like they'll have dogs in it or talking animals, that kind of thing. And it's okay, that's been done. But it's like everyone's still going off the Budweiser frogs, that they were the best.
Yeah, that's the staple for all commercials.
Yeah, they're using that to go on the back of, man. I find that really interesting. Well, jumping into some topics, the battle that is raging in the Southeast Asia that nobody knows about except for me and a few other people who actually read the news about it. The Indonesian government is at it again, and this time I had previously agreed, for those of you that recall, with their decision to ban anything that was bought online that's not worth a minimum of what would be equivalent to $100 US. So that's like the way they were stopping the Temu invasion of their own country's market and infrastructure and economy, was to ban those goods, if you recall. Now they're at it again, and they're saying, well, we're not so sure that we want e-commerce at all.
Oh, boy.
And not to say that they're going to stop it altogether, but they're putting in provisions now, not only to attack things that are bought online that come from overseas, but also bought online that come from within their own country. And it's almost like a stifling, not even almost, it is stifling the growth of an emerging market because it's taking away from their brick and mortar markets.
Right. They see it as a threat.
Which makes me wonder who controls those markets.
Right.
That don't control the e-commerce markets, who also might be in government, who doesn't want to lose money to e-commerce.
Follow the money, what I always say.
Follow the money.
Always follow the money.
I mean, I gotta say, I haven't researched that yet. I was literally this morning just thinking about this topic, and it kind of hit me, and I'm very curious now to understand the president or whatever, the prime minister, the cabinet members, all these folks, what business, because they all own businesses, right? This is, everybody knows this. What businesses do they own, invest in, and what do they not invest in? And if they're very traditional, they may not have saw e-commerce as a viable market.
No, and you'll find out that most of the time when these type of law, well, I don't even call it a law as much as it is just a ban on something, usually is backed up by interest held in something else. I mean, it happens everywhere. Happens here. I mean, I can't deny that. But if you research what's going on there and how they call it what do they call it, the social platforms, social selling, isn't that what term they use?
Social media, e-commerce, social selling,
social platform, which is interesting. I haven't really heard it said that way, but it makes sense. I mean, that's what it is. But I guarantee if you follow the money trail, you're going to find somebody's not heavily invested in that, and they don't want that taken over them. be
the
them.
right person's got to be the one that's like, yep, all right, it's going to make me a bunch of money. So we're going to put the policy in place to ensure that it does. The policies in place are getting put in place to ensure that it does not. Probably because someone, is benefiting the opposite of that.
Which should make businesses even more. I mean, if you think about it, it should make. Sorry. It should make businesses in the U.S. I swallowed a bug. No, I'm kidding. Make businesses in the U.S. more appreciative of having what they've got to be able to fight that kind of stuff in Washington. Because I know there's a ton of industries that support that, and, not support that, but support fulfillment, e-commerce, social selling.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they fight it at the highest level to keep it where it is. And I think that's where you have to look at other countries and think, wow, that's how easy somebody could say nope or put a limit on it.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And we're 6 minutes in, and I just realized that I didn't even introduce myself or my co-host. Man, we actually just started doing that. And it only kind of came to me recently. As everybody knows, this is a new podcast. We're still learning here at Intangible Commerce. And I noticed how the more established podcast will have an introduction. Like Joe Rogan's doesn't need an introduction because everybody knows Joe Rogan. Right. But everybody else is like, welcome to the blah, blah podcast presented by, So, for those of you that are 6 minutes and 47 seconds into the podcast,
if you're still here,
if you're still here, YouTube, I'm looking at you. I am your host, Ray Roberts of Intangible Commerce, joined to me, by me, joined by my side is my co-host, David the Yarbrough Savage.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here, and happy to be as savage as always. You're looking mighty savage today. Has anybody ever told you that?
Well, yeah. I tend to tone it down a little bit so I don't scare people.
Scare the children.
Scare the kids.
Dave, you're going to be on the road here soon. Speaking of savage and scaring kids, you're going to one of the most horrific places on the planet, Florida.
Florida.
Cool.
Home of the 70-point scoring Miami Dolphins last week in the NFL. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. At one point, that was their entire season total.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was a lot. But so why are you're going to be attending a conference down there, CSCMP Edge?
Headed to the CSCMP Edge conference.
Can you say CSCMP 5 times fast?
CSCMP, 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 CSCMP. I don't think I said it all, but.
Thank you very much.
I did it.
What the heck is it? What the heck is this? What's a CSCMP? What are we doing down there? What are you doing down there? What is anybody going down there for?
Well, they're going to go down there for the Conference of Supply Chain Management Professionals and do some learning and developing and connecting. They call that the Supply Chain's premier event. They've trademarked that, by the way.
It has been trademarked, so it must be in some way true, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Do you have to prove that? That's a claim, right?
It's a claim, but it is, I could say I've been attending it for over probably 10 or 12 years, and it's always been a top-notch show. And as far as people who attend, educational sessions, and just speakers in general.
So if I'm like an average, a lot of our listeners are coming from the e-com world, from the direct-to-consumer world. What kind of thing would that type of business owner or advocate be going out there to see, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. One, obviously the developmental aspect of these type of shows. So, you can break up trade shows into true speed dating shows, like a ProMat, for example, would be something you would go and you go as quick as you can because it's so big and you're just going to look maybe for particular things. And you spend most of the time on the floor. Yeah, you spend most time on the floor just kind of going through. Where at a CSCMP, and there's others like this, I think of it as more educational focused and developmental focus. Therefore, yes, you're going to attend sessions, so you're going to learn, but you're also going to interact with and network with folks. Being a much smaller show, you've got roughly like 3,000 people will be there. They'll have hundreds of sessions, and luckily it goes for roughly 3.5 days, so you got plenty of time to kind of pick and choose your path, if you will.
Absolutely, and there's a golf course right next door, so you get done with the show, you can stay an extra day.
You could do it.
Get some golf in.
You could do it. Yep, absolutely. And the neat
Get
thing
eaten by a freaking alligator because it's Florida.
Well, I tell you what. Side note: that is one thing that shocked me years ago when I first started going to shows in Florida and playing golf. It's like there are alligators in all that water that I happen to hit my golf ball into quite a bit. You want to be real careful.
That's one of those you just take the points and let's just play through.
I'm gonna take a drop over here.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna fish that out.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. The thing about where this show is, and I guess most of Florida for me is this way. I'm an advocate for many states, but man, Florida's not one of them. I just don't like Florida. It's hot and humid, and there are so many old people on the roads. There's crashes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the road is like 10 lanes, and it's just going straight.
Yep.
How do you crash?
Florida has definitely a different. Yeah, they do have it's a whole different place, right? Because if you compare northern Florida or Panhandle to either southern Florida like Miami, I mean, it's just that state itself has an interesting history / just with the hurricanes and everything that's about it. It's like, don't know if I'd live there at all, but I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but boy, you gotta like some humidity. And I'm a guy from Dallas, thinking that stuff's hot.
It is really very sticky, very sticky. It's like, I'm from Indiana, in the Louisville, Kentucky area, and we get some nasty humidity.
Mm-hmm.
But man, and I thought we had it bad, because there's times when you open your door, you can feel how thick the air is. But man, every time I'm in Florida, it's like I could carry the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's how heavy it feels.
It's true. It's true.
Don't see how people can live like that every day.
Yep, it's rough. I mean, the one thing I said it earlier about the hurricane, that's the one thing that gets me is like, at some point, it's going to get you.
It's like Australia. Everything wants to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
They've got poisonous snakes, spiders, alligators, anacondas, apparently, every now and again. Like, everything wants you to die in Florida.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Shout out to anybody living in Florida listening to the podcast. Comment below. Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Make us want to live in Florida. What draws us to Florida?
Explain your decision to us right now.
It's
what have you done?
It's one of those places like California for me that's fun to visit. Couldn't live there.
I gotta say, I could live in California. I really like it. I love the West Coast in general. Colorado, I love it because it's more dry of a climate. There are basically no mosquitoes in Southern California at all.
True.
Fantastic weather. Man, I really like it. But that's not where you're going to be, so that's not where I would go. If I were a listener of this show, I would come out and I would visit Dave at CSEMP Edge, and we are going to be out there with, ladies, drumroll please. It's going to be out there with our sponsor of the show, La Jiwa WMS.
La Jiwa WMS.
I almost ended the podcast when I did the slam, like the thing. It clicked a button on my keyboard. Yeah, it was like, turn off. It's like,
sitting there like going, what?
Where are they?
What did he say?
Where are they?
Where's he going with?
Where are they going to be? I don't know. Let me tell you guys a little bit about La Jiwa. So it's a warehouse management software, direct-to-consumer, high volume, right? So today's market offers a lot more challenges than we've ever seen before in e-commerce, ever seen before in D2C. This counts for 3PLs, even custom brands. Anybody shipping something directly to an end consumer, that end consumer is paying more for everything else. So their stress level when buying has gone up. And what do you need to do, right? As a merchant, as someone who's a proprietor of fulfillment, you need to ensure you're getting the right goods to the right people every single time. It should be predictable. So what does a WMS do for you? There's a lot on the market that do that, right? Oh, they can pick and pack. Sure, everybody can pick and pack. But who is bringing forward efficiency when you bring an item to your warehouse store and you need to do a directed put away? These folks have that. It can help you organize your warehouse the very day you get the goods. You can start to have that efficiency. Then you got picking algorithms, you've got reports and BI tools and analytics and oh my gosh, everything else. What does that do, Dave? Drives efficiency, reduces my overhead cost, so I can now push forward that savings to my clients through my products. If you want a competitive edge in today's extremely competitive environment, and you don't know who Lajua is, you need to do one of two things. First is go see Dave out there at CSCMP in the beautiful, sunny Florida weather. That guy over there. The second thing you need to do is reach out to us. I'm going to link our information in the comments of each of these postings, so look down there for that. And at the end, I'll put a little title card. You want to reach out to either one of us and check out logiwa.com, LOGIWA.com.
Well, Sunday. You could reach out to us on Sunday.
You can, if you want to reach out on a Sunday, shoot me a text.
Well,
Usually my son and I are hanging out.
It's going to be on Sunday, so that starts.
Oh,
Sunday
you will.
night,
That's right. It does, doesn't it? That's odd for me to start on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Why Sunday?
Maybe it's a kickoff for the week. I've had that happen a few times where they've kicked off an event like with a little networking that Sunday night because it's at a resort, so I think everybody's sort of there. I don't expect it to be real crowded that night, but you do have some people that'll be floating around.
I think they do it so people have an excuse to fly in Saturday, get around to golf in.
That may be more like it. Very possible. But no, it should be a really good time, and it should be a lot of good information floating around there. And one thing you were talking about, all the great things that Logiwa is able to do. By the way, I'm still trying to make sure I get the name correct because I know there's depending on where you're from and your accent can really drive how you say it. I usually say Logiwa. I'm trying to say more Logiwa.
Or if you're a New Yorker, it's Lajua. But
I mean, there's so much. No, yeah, really. Now we're hitting on New York. Sorry, they're the ones that go to Florida. Yeah, we can't make any friends on the East Coast.
Not at all.
But yeah, I mean, as I think about solutions, and I tell people all the time, if you ever wanted to have one solution that's already built that allows you to configure and basically click toggles to make it work in your operation, Logiwa does. Logiwa does. Lajua. I mean, that's a bottom line, and it all depends on what you're looking for. And I think that's what we're going to showcase when we're out there. I think one of our taglines I think I've seen lately is, what does it fulfill beautifully?
Yeah,
we saw on there?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that statement is, if you think about the meaning of that, it actually really is. I mean, it's like a harmony that comes in because that's what everybody wants in an operation. Everybody, I don't care what you're into.
Sort of like a beehive. Things are flowing and ebbing.
It just flows.
And flow. Yeah.
And in the word beautifully, you could think it means everything about looks, but really it's everything about core competency of it working in sync. So
it's how it makes you feel, right? It's at the end of the day, that experience of what do I want my warehouse workers to experience. And speaking from the perspective of an e-commerce business owner, I've owned e-commerce businesses before. I've got another one that's kicking off here pretty soon. That's the dropship business, and it's all about that synchronization and my ability to achieve the data that I need. Right, and I think any business owners who will be listening here, a lot of softwares give me a bit of what I need. Some of them are 90%, and 90% is that Goldilocks zone of, I can live with this. It gives me what I need. I might have to search here and there for some small minor things or pull in this additional report from my TMS or whatever. But at 90%, a lot of softwares on the market these days are trying to do so much that they're not even achieving 70% of what I actually need. It's because they're trying to be like, oh, look how cool we are. Look how cool this feature is. Yeah, but nobody's asking for that. And that's the cool thing about Lodua. It's got those core necessity functions. It also has a customer group that is our decision-making core of what are we going to build next? How should we execute this? It is purely user-driven development, which is very unique because a lot of companies say they do that, but a lot of these companies do not have an actual board, that a customer review board like we have. So there's a lot to be said with the actual day-to-day execution of that. But man, is it ever true? Today's e-commerce market is more cutthroat than I've ever seen. It is tough out there.
It is. It is. And if you don't have the right systems, all your systems need to be top tier.
Yeah, you've got to have the edge. And that's where I think Lodua really plays its hand. It is reducing costs for business owners who can do one of two things. They can hang on to that money, because as a business owner, sometimes you do need to shield yourself from these economic changes. You've got to have some cash. Or if you're not in that way and you are cash heavy already, or maybe you've got some recent investment, that kind of thing, you can then take that savings and push that onto your customer, driving a lower price. Thus, more people are going to buy from you, especially as we're getting into peak season and through peak season. This is the kind of time where folks really feel that stress. And if you're already on Lodua, and a lot of folks are, hey, heads up, everybody who's in any industry, Lodua is impacting your competitors right now. And if you're not on board with that, if you don't know what we're doing, then you need to take a look. It's important.
Oh yeah. Yeah, come check us out. There's no mistake while we're at a conference called CSCMP Edge. Get it? Get an edge. Sunday.
They're going to be there Monday and Tuesday as well. So if you can't make it Sunday.
Yeah, don't just come on Sunday. That's a short day.
Everyone's going to be there on Sunday now because we said it so many times.
Yep.
Erhan, the CEO of Lodua, is going to be speaking out there. Now, this is a guy who's got a background in industrial engineering. So he's somebody who used to implement all these systems, execution systems, robotic systems. Really, really sharp guy. And he's going to be out there talking about this experience of this direct-to-consumer market and where things are really changing. And through this customer review board, right, we've got the perspective of not just Erhan, but he's gained the perspective of leaders of many other companies that I don't want to say too much, but some very big, well-known names are using this software. And I think it's really important. So if you are going to be out there, make sure you get out on, I think it's Sunday at 5:15. Erhan's going to be doing a speaking.
Yeah.
So make sure you're out there for that. If you are going.
Monday 5:15.
Oh, it's Monday. Monday at 5:15.
Yep.
I was actually just checking. Like, wait a minute, was it Sunday?
Yeah.
I had to go back to my notes. When I hit the desk, my notes closed.
You're like, where did it go? No,
Yeah,
speaking
so
on, I believe he's speaking on, is your WMS costing you revenue? Linking WMS to business results.
Which is exactly what I was talking about, man. Is your WMS costing you more money? Is it biting you in the butt? Because Lodua is not, right? So we are reducing costs and people are saving money. A lot of folks aren't, and they don't realize. They think, oh, my system costs $120,000 a year or $80,000 a year. No, that's how much you're paying for it.
Right.
What it costs you is very different.
That's right.
Very different.
And that's really the conversation everyone needs to be having is yes, you pay for something, but at the end of the day, what does it really cost you? Because what you pay every month is not what it costs you. That's just what you
Absolutely.
write the check for. And
Yep.
that's where all of our conversations we have day in, day out start to go to that next level that says, okay, yeah, there's a cost for Lodua. So what? There's a cost for everything. What does it really cost you? And that's where those kind of conversations are. Where
Yeah, the time it takes to do things, it really does bite into you. And the thing is, a lot of folks haven't experienced buying a software like a WMS. Speaking from experience myself, I had not bought a WMS before when I started my e-commerce journey. I didn't really know what I was looking for as a very young business owner, just figuring stuff out. I had no idea. Then you start to learn about this stuff and really look into it and figure out how to quantify what it costs you. And it's like, oh my God, this thing actually costs me $300,000 a year because all the time I'm spending doing this or that or whatever.
Every time I touch an order, it costs money. I mean, if you don't know that, that's a problem, and you probably are spending more than you should. And the other thing I tell folks too is, you may be doing everything right too. So just because you come to Lodua and check us out, in turn we may say, no, you're good. We can't help you because we're not interested in fitting in every market, and not everybody is a customer. So
that's true.
There is that.
That's true. You're going to get that experience, yeah. So for those folks who aren't familiar, just reach out. Let us have a conversation. Reach out to David or I. We're very experienced. We do business consulting all the time. And what our goal with this is, like Dave just said, it's to identify where your gaps are and what the gaps are, so we can quantify how much money are you potentially losing. Some folks aren't losing that much. Some folks are doing really, really good. I've seen some very polished systems out there for where you are, but others aren't. And if you've not done that before, if you've not taken a quantitative look, everybody knows what landed cost is, right, Dave? Landed cost. This water bottle to my warehouse cost me how much per unit? Not a lot of people are doing a shipped cost. What does it take from the time this thing hits my dock to the time I ship it out to Dave Yarborough out in Dallas? How much money did it cost me to do that?
That's right.
And if you don't know, talk to Dave and I. We'll help you out.
Yep. Love to.
Because that's what we do. We are men of the people.
And I'll tell you this much. If they come find me or anybody, you or whoever at a show, I'll even sign an autograph for you.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Hang on. I got a pen right here.
I would do it. Oh, he's even got a pen. I got one. I've always got it ready.
Hey, wait a minute.
Ready.
It's like the same pen.
Sort of. It came from a trade show, I'm sure.
Shout out to Outfront Media. I did a local, they're a Chamber of Commerce member.
Mine would be to Festo, whatever they do. Thank you for the pen.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's I got to work on that. I
got
got to
an
work on
autograph from a 3-year-old. That's awesome.
I don't have a very good autograph. You know what I was in customs, I used to sign like that. It was just a scratch right here.
Wow.
That's it. Just a scratch. Every single airway bill ever signed by me.
There's mine.
Oh, look at what is that? That says Aaliyah.
Wait.
If anybody's on YouTube right now seeing this, oh, there you go.
For you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Aaliyah. I appreciate you.
Oh my God.
That's so good. That is so good. All right. Well, listen, folks. On that bombshell, Dave and I need to go and practice our autographs because they're terrible. They are terrible.
And if you build it, they will come. So people will now coming. They're going to start getting out of the woodwork to want autographs.
Dude, the first time that happens, someone who's actually listening to this remembers that, sees us and knows us, and asks for an autograph because of that episode. Oh my God. I will not be able to contain A, my excitement, B, my laughter. I will literally die, I'm sure, of a burst gut. That is so fun. So much fun. All right. Well, folks, what you've learned today on this episode of Intangible Commerce, is Dave's going to be in Florida on Sunday. This Sunday, he's going to be out there. So get out there and take a look. Monday, you're going to go see Erhan And on Tuesday, you're going to call me or Dave, and let's talk through how we can help you guys out. And we're really excited for the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. Call us and talk about what you learned. We'd love to help you out.
What have you learned on today's episode of Intangible Commerce?
Exactly.
And we're out!